Today I'm going to talk about Warp, one of the best terminals at the moment in 2022. I've been using Item for a long time. I'm very comfortable. I have a lot of aliases and I'm quite comfortable with the shortcuts to use Item. But once I found this one, I cannot stop using it. This is very cool and it gives you a lot of tons of features. You don't need to do pretty much most of the things that you do with other terminals to, for example, add plugins or add themes. This terminal is going to give you all of them by default without any installation. So let's just dive in and find out why we have to use this one. If you go to warp.dev, you can go to, from the top right, you can download it, and the download is very simple. Just drag the application to drop the Warp app to the application directory and good to go. And then for the first time when you're going to run it, it asks you to log in or sign in. And the reason behind it is quite simple because this is a beta, so they want to get some feedback and probably some usage, and then maybe they will improve it later on. And the other one is because the idea of using this terminal is to share commands and share a lot of workplaces between teammates. Then that's why probably if you have logged in, then you can just sync somehow behind the scene, which at the moment that's not the case, but you have to sign in because of these two reasons. That one aside, the terminal is very fancy. The user experience is amazing. Well, when I say amazing, to compare with other terminals we have had so far, this is one of the best. And I will show you why and how. And then the other thing is, you might get the idea of this is quite similar to Electron applications, but it is not. It's using like quite similar UI in some senses, but based on the documentation, they're not using Electron. In the early versions, they were using it. Now they're not using anything in that regard. It's written in Rust. That's why it's very fast and convenient to use. Now you have the terminal on the screen, and let's just dive in and see what do we have here. If I just do ls, you can see we get nothing here because there is nothing in the directory. I'm gonna just create a file, just let's call it 1.txt, and now I'll do ls. I can get a few things. Out of the box, you can see we have the command palette underneath. So on the bottom of the terminal, you have this one. And then once you run any command, you get some blocks. For example, when I do ls, I get a block. You can see the lines and separate them, how long it took to run that command, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then continuing it. So if I do, for example, git status here, the moment I just start typing status or git, and then the autocomplete comes handy. You can see now I have the git status. Now I can just do git add and then 1.txt. I press enter. Now I have more commands, and then because of my block, I can see there are more stuff on the top. If I click there, I can see more things happening. I'll go back, I click to the last one. With my keyboard, if I press up and down, I can just move really between blocks. This is very handy. You don't really get the same thing with different terminals. Now you get the block, you can just move on with the blocks. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. One other cool things that we have is you can just bookmark this command for later on if you want to just back to it. Or from these three dots on the right, you can just click, you can copy the command if it was a long command. You can copy the output if you need the output, copy both of them and create a permanent link, just share it between your teammates and copy the prompts, etc, etc. You can do pretty much most of these things here. So I'll move on, and then the next thing I want to show you is if you press Command P, it will just show you the command palette. With the command palette, you can see, for example, if you have worked with different IDEs such as VS Code, you can get pretty much the same thing. Here is different because it's not an IDE, this is terminal, but you get the idea. If you want to change for example, the theme, all you have to do is just to type theme, and then you can see open theme picker, enable, etc, etc. If I go there, all of these themes are installed by default, so they are there. You don't need to do anything. If you just work with other terminals, for example, items and the default terminal which comes with the Mac OS, you need to really do all of these things to get the same experience, and it's not going to be exactly the same because you can find different blogs on the internet, you follow them, sometimes the link is not working, sometimes you might miss a semicolon and some of the stuff are not working. Here everything is out of the box for you. You just choose them and then press enter, moving on. I will just choose, for example, this one. It's very easy and readable, or this one, and then I'll continue. So I will, for the sake of this one, I'm gonna just choose, for example, the white one, and then I'm happy with it. The other things we can do, if you press again Command P, is just, if you want to split, you can just split your terminal, and pretty much many more commands, as you can see. So I'm gonna scroll down, you can bookmark, you can clear the block, and many other things that you can do here. There are a lot of commands, so you can just use them all. Moving on, I will just look at the status one more time. I am, well, git status, okay, that's a good one. I just mistyped the status here. Now if I just come and press git st, the autocomplete will come up. Do you want to stage, stash, status, etc, etc. I'm gonna, first of all, I don't like the theme, so I'm gonna change the theme. Probably I'm gonna go with this one, Solarized Dark, and then I'm gonna come back and press ST and then tab. When you press tab, it will give you the auto completion. On the right side of auto completion, you can see the hint, which will tell you more about the command you're going to run. So I want to actually get the git status. I'm going to press what's happened. Okay, press enter, and then one more time, you can see I have a file. I'm going to commit the change, and let's say add 1.txt. I will commit it. Everything is good so far. The next thing that I want to do is to press Control and backtick. What is backtick? Backtick is you have double quotation, we have single quotation, and then we have the backtick. Well, people call it different one, but I'll just call it backticks. Okay, so if you press Control and backticks, you get the AI. And then I'll say, oh, I forgot, I need to revert that last commit. All I need to do is say revert last commit. It will just go and find the command I want. And then all I have to do is command enter. It will give me the command. So I don't really need to go and find out what was the command, and then I'll come back to it. And then I'll just do one more time. Let's say I forgot how to create directory. And let's say, I don't know, this is mkdir. But for the sake of this one, I'll say create directory, and then it will search, give you this one, or just say create file, whatever you want. It will just, you just type it, it will give you the command. That's why it's so cool. The other thing that I want to show is Control and R. This is a history. You can get it pretty much with some terminals after some configuration, but it comes out of the box here by default. So you can just move on and then do whatever you wanted to do. It's very handy and it's very good. Moving on, I'll go to the setting and then I'll show you what we have here. Because you have to log in, the first thing is your account. You can see it. And then the next one is the appearance. You can see if you want to change the theme, you want to change the color, you want to change the font size, etc, etc. Here, features is pretty much some standard features that comes with this terminal. You can use it if you have to. All of them are self-explanatory. There is nothing very fancy or strange here. And then we have shared block. We don't have it at the moment because we're not working with different teams, but if you are, then they will be here. And then the next thing is the shortcut. Basically everything that is in the website is here too. Next thing that I want to talk about is the documentation. The documentation on this terminal is very good. If you go to user manual, so document, user manual, everything will be here. You can see pretty much a demo. You can see on everything that you want to do. Let's say if you want to go and find, you can see some explanation. what is the command, and then the next thing is you will see a visual demo of what you have to do. That's why I like it so much. It's very handy. The user experience is one of the best thing in this terminal, which I cannot stop talking about it. You just notice that I'm using Git. So because I initialized a Git here, now I have the Git plugin automatically detected in this directory. If I go out to the other directory, I don't have a Git and it just doesn't show it. And if I go back again to the directory that I want to go, because it has Git, it will show me everything. That's why the user experience is very important. It comes with some plugins that you have to do it, or you have to really configure other terminals. This one will give it to you. Unfortunately, at the moment, this is only available in Mac, so you don't have it in Windows or Linux, but it will come in handy later on. There is a FAQ section if you want to know more, and then there is other stuff like, for example, the completion, the accessibility, history, and everything else that I talk about is here. I think for a long time I was waiting for such a IDE. I found it recently, that's why I'm sharing it with you. It's not very new, but at the moment it's still in a beta version. I'm going to use it and I think I'm going to enjoy it. Please let me know if you are using this terminal or if you want to use it in a comment section. And if you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video with your friends, and then let's see how everyone is going to use this one and how enjoyable would be the work with terminal. Believe me, this is a very good one.